Hi, everybody. Welcome back and Happy New Year. I'm DJ Munzik, Head of Marketing here at KETIV, and I'm glad to have you back for this week's Virtual Academy. This week, Donny Hayes from our data management team is going to walk you through configuring users and groups in Vault. These topics are just two of our full 19-part series, Optimizing Autodesk Vault Setup and Configuration. Go check out the full series to learn how to master your Vault. Next week, you don't want to miss our session where we'll share what's coming up with Autodesk and AI. We'll share the roadmap and discuss the impacts to engineering workflows coming in 2026 and beyond. All right, so let's start with part one today, Vault user configuration. By the end, you'll know how to manage user roles, assign folder permissions, and optimize your Autodesk Vault server for multi-user environments. We'll hand it off now to Donny.
Hello, my name is Donny Hayes. I'm a data management application engineer on the Vault team at KETIV. Did you know you can take all of this configuration off your plate and let us manage it all for you with our Autodesk Vault in the cloud? This guide highlights the hard and soft costs of owning your own environment and a path to move to the cloud. So I'm going to go over the required fields needed to add a user to Vault, explain the different settings for users, managing users, and lastly, we'll open Vault and add a new user. There are a few required fields that need to be populated for every new user inside of Vault. The first is the display name. The value of this field is used for properties inside of Vault, like created by, checked out by, and approved by, to mention a few. The accounts. This is the method of authentication used by the user for logging into Vault. Roles, the assigned set of permissions assigned to the user. And then vaults, the vault or vaults the user has access to. Now, roles and vaults can be omitted if you are adding the user to a group that already has roles and vaults assigned to that group. When you click on the accounts button, you'll find 3 account authentication methods available in Vault Professional and 2 in Vault Basic. The first 2 options are available in Vault Basic. The first is Autodesk ID. This requires the admin to enter the user's email address registered to that user's Autodesk account. The Vault account is a local account inside of Vault. The Vault admin will assign the user a username and password for the user to log in to Vault. Windows Authentication allows the Vault admin to import the user's credentials from the company's Active Directory domain. At least one authentication method must be set up. However, you can set up more than one method. When clicking on the Roles button, a list of available roles will be opened that you can assign to the user. Without a role, the user will not be able to log into Vault. They need to be assigned a role or multiple roles. These roles assign the user permissions that determine what the user can do inside of the Vault. Each role is defined by a set of permissions. When a user is assigned multiple roles, the user's permissions become a union of all the permissions assigned to that user. The roles shown in this image are the configured roles shipped with Vault Professional. Vault admins can create custom roles with a custom set of permissions. One thing to note about roles, if one or more roles are removed or added to the user after the user has been configured, those permission changes will not take effect until the user logs out of Vault and then logs back in. Clicking on the Vaults button will open a list of available vaults the user can be granted access to. All users need to be granted access to one or more vaults. There are several other fields that can be filled out for the user, but they're not required. Email alias is used to store the user's email address. For users with Windows authentication selected in the Accounts field, the Active Directory email address is imported into this field. First name is the user's first name. Last name is the user's last name. You can add the user to a group by clicking on the Groups button to assign the user to one or more groups. And users can be enabled or disabled. When a user is disabled, that user no longer has access to log into Vault. Users cannot be deleted, only disabled. When you're managing the list of users you have inside of Vault, if you only want to see the list of enabled users, you want to click on the View tab and ensure that checked Show Enabled Only is checked. This will remove the disabled users from the list. The users are not deleted, just no longer shown in the list. User information and configuration can also be updated if needed. For example, if a user's last name changes, you can update the user's display name and last name fields to reflect the new last name. So let's jump into Vault Professional and add a new user. All right, so we're inside of Vault, logged in as an admin. So to add a user, we're going to go to Tools, Administration, and Global Settings. And we're going to click the Manage Access button. Here you'll see the list of users set up inside of our Vault. And so to add a new user, we're going to click New. And we will add a new user, Patty from production. And we're only going to fill out what's necessary. So we need to add an account type. We're going to add a Vault account. And that's going to pull in the display name that can be changed if you want to add a dot or just Patty or whatever you feel like. Here's where you will assign a password for that user that you will then share with the user so that they can log in. We will assign them a role and say OK. And we will assign them to a Vault. And it's really that simple. Ensure that user is enabled. You'll see they've been added to the list. To understand the roles that you're assigning, you can click on the Roles button in that same menu and get a list of all of the roles within Vault. They give you a little description of what each role does, but if you want to know the specific permissions assigned to that role, you can double click on the permission or on the role and get a list of the permissions. The permissions underneath selected permissions on the right hand side are the permissions that role has been assigned. Okay. And here's where you would add a new role by clicking the new role. You'd give it a name, a description, and then add any specific permissions you would like to give to that new role. And those new roles can then be assigned to your users.
Okay, now that we've covered users, let's unlock the power of groups, and while doing so, learn how to properly manage them. We'll go back to Donny, who'll continue from where we left off.
So I'm going to talk about why you might want to create groups and explain different profile fields for groups, managing the groups, and lastly, we'll open Vault and add a new group. So why would you want to configure groups in your Vault? Well, groups can be thought of as teams or departments in a company and can help the Vault admins simplify the administration of permissions and access to multiple vaults. Groups are a collection of users that share the same roles and access to the same vaults. Groups facilitate the efficient and consistent management of permissions throughout the Vault. Groups are ideal for managing lifecycle and folder permissions And when lifecycle and folder permissions are assigned to groups instead of individual users, the Vault admin can add and remove group members without having to adjust permissions on those lifecycle states and transitions or individual folders. So now let's talk about the different fields within the Group tab. The group name is the name for their group. I would suggest making it a descriptive name to help identify the group. Some examples of names include engineers, designers, shop, sales, whatever you can think of that's descriptive. The email alias is the email address of a distribution list for the group. You can also enter a list of individual email addresses separated by a semicolon. Click Linked to associate the group to an Active Directory group. Click Roles to assign one or more roles, aka vault permissions, to the group. Every member of the group is assigned the permissions of that group. Individual user roles are combined with the roles assigned to the group to which the user belongs. As a best practice, always assign roles to groups to make user permission management easier. Click Vaults to select one or more vaults to which the group has access. Every member of the group has access to the vaults assigned to the group. Click Groups to select one or more groups that this group will be a part of. This new group would become a subgroup of the selected group or groups that you select. Click Group Managers to assign one or more group managers. The group manager does not need to be a member of the group and manages the members of the group. The group manager must have user read permissions to manage those members. A group can be enabled or disabled. A group must be enabled for the permissions of that group to be active. When a group is disabled, the roles and vault access assigned to the group and the members of that group are no longer available. Disabling a group does not disable individual user accounts. Group members is a list of all the members of the group. Click Add to select users you would like to add to the group. To remove a group member, select the group member to be removed and then click the Remove button. When viewing the group's list, click the View tab and check Show Enabled Only to remove the disabled groups from the list. These groups are not deleted, just no longer shown in the list when Show Enabled Only is checked. Groups cannot be deleted, only disabled. There is one group that every Vault user is assigned to. That group is named Everyone. The Everyone group cannot be disabled and members cannot be removed. That group is also not viewable in the list of groups. So let's jump into Vault Professional and add a new group. All right, here in Vault, to add a group, we're going to go to Tools, Administration, Global Settings. Now you must be logged into Vault as an admin to do this. And we're going to go ahead and click the Manage Access button. And here we get the user and group management window. To add a group, we're going to click Groups, and we'll get a list of our groups that are in Vault. To add a new group, we click New. We give it a name. It's descriptive, engineering. We're going to assign that group some roles. And we're going to assign it to a vault. And here you could add a group manager if you would like. but we're just going to go ahead and add some group members. Now you'll see those members show up in the list. To remove a member, you select the member you would like to remove and click remove. We'll say OK. And now you'll see that you have a new group within the groups list. You can also add members to a group by going into the users that you would like to add or modify and click groups. That will open a list of groups, and we can add them to one or more groups. To look at the roles in more detail for those groups, you can click the roles button and get a list of all the roles. To see the specific permissions, double click on the role you would like, where you will get a list of the permissions assigned to that role underneath selected permissions. Here you can add or remove roles and add custom roles with specific permissions. And that's how you add a group to Vault. To assign permissions for the group to the various life cycles you may have configured inside of your Vault, click Tools, Administration, Vault Settings, click the Behaviors tab, and then click Life Cycles. This will open a list of the life cycles that you have set up inside of your Vault, and you will select the life cycle that you would like to edit, click Edit, and click the different state security tab. And here you'll see the Everyone group. You can remove that Everyone group and add your groups to allow them the permissions you would like. And then when you're done adding your group and the various permissions, you'll hit Apply, and then go adjust the transitions for each state. And this one, we're going to edit the work in progress to for review. Click Edit, click the Security tab. And if there's no permissions associated with it, we're going to click Uncheck No Restrictions. Click Add. Select our group. And we will either allow or deny permission. This allow or deny either allows them to move the lifecycle from the work in progress state to the for review, or deny them from being able to move from work in progress to for review. In this case, we're going to allow and say OK. And then when we've gone through all of our states and added all the securities and all the transitions security, we're going to click OK and close, and then close it out.
Great. Thank you, Donny. I think this gives everyone a better idea of how to best manage their Vault environment properly to ensure optimal access and accountability as teams are collaborating. Thanks to everyone for joining us for this week's Virtual Academy, and we'll catch you next time.